Once upon a very confusing time, humans figured out how to stand on two legs and immediately thought, yes, this is enough confidence to dominate the planet. I'm your Stickman narrator, by the way, and I'll be playing every role in history because animation budgets are tight. Anyway, early humans had no cities, no Wi-Fi, and definitely no idea what taxes were. Life was simple. Find food, avoid being eaten, and draw strange animals on cave walls. Those drawings were not art. They were the first attempt at saying, bruh, I survived today. As time passed, humans discovered tools, which was great because fists were not working out. Stones became knives, sticks became weapons, and suddenly everyone felt powerful. Of course, the first thing humans did with power was fight each other. Tribes formed, leaders shouted loudly, and whoever shouted the loudest usually became important. Fire was discovered around this time, and humans immediately used it for warmth, cooking, and accidentally burning everything down. Civilization was not elegant. It was chaotic, loud, and slightly on fire most of the time. Then came farming. The moment humans decided walking around is exhausting, let's stay in one place forever. This was the birth of villages, ownership, and arguments about whose land was whose. Crops grew, populations exploded, and humans suddenly had free time to invent new problems. Someone looked at grain and thought, what if I control all of this? Congratulations, that was the invention of hierarchy. Kings were born, not because they were smart, but because they had better armor and louder voices. With cities came writing, which humans invented so they could remember things and complain more efficiently. Laws were written, histories were recorded, and myths were exaggerated beyond recognition. Gods appeared everywhere, each one conveniently supporting whoever was in charge. Massive monuments were built to prove how powerful rulers were, even though most people were just tired workers with sore backs. Civilization looked impressive from far away, but up close it was still mostly chaos wrapped in stone. Empires rose like fireworks and fell like dropped plates. One group conquered another, claimed greatness, then collapsed due to corruption, rebellion, or really bad leadership decisions. Roads, armies, and politics expanded, and humans became experts at organizing large groups to do questionable things. Philosophers tried to explain life, warriors tried to control it, and regular people just tried to survive without being invaded that week. Progress was happening, but very aggressively. Religion and belief systems spread across continents, shaping how humans thought, feared, and obeyed. Faith united people, divided people, and justified a shocking amount of violence. Wars were fought over invisible ideas, which is impressive and concerning at the same time. Meanwhile, science quietly tried to understand reality, but was often told to sit down and be quiet. Humans were learning, but also arguing loudly about what learning meant. The medieval era arrived, bringing castles, swords, and fashion choices that hurt just by looking at them. Life expectancy was low, medical knowledge was worse, and hygiene was more of a suggestion than a rule. Kings ruled by divine right, which meant don't question me. Most people worked endlessly, dreamed rarely, and hoped not to die from something small and ridiculous. It was not a great time, but it was definitely dramatic. Then, curiosity finally won. Exploration began, ships crossed oceans, and humans discovered new lands already full of people. Instead of saying hello, they usually said mine. Trade expanded, cultures clashed, and wealth flowed in very unequal directions. The world felt bigger and smaller at the same time. Maps filled in, borders appeared, and humanity became more connected, mostly through conflict and misunderstanding. The Industrial Revolution changed everything very fast and very loudly. Machines replaced muscles, factories replaced fields, and cities filled with smoke and ambition. Humans gained efficiency, speed, and pollution all at once. Work became repetitive, lives became scheduled, and time suddenly mattered a lot. Progress was measured in production, not happiness. Humans were no longer just surviving, they were optimizing themselves, sometimes at the cost of their own well-being. New nations formed, politics became complicated, and nationalism told people who they were supposed to hate. Wars scaled up, technology followed, and destruction became industrial too. The world witnessed conflicts so massive that they reshaped borders, identities, and collective trauma. Humans proved they could invent incredible machines and use them in terrifying ways. After every war, everyone promised never again, which historically meant see you next time. Science accelerated, medicine improved, and life expectancy grew. Humans learned how the universe works, from tiny particles to massive galaxies. They landed on the moon, split atoms, and connected the planet with invisible signals. Comfort increased, but so did anxiety. The more humans knew, the more they realized how fragile everything was. Knowledge didn't bring peace automatically. It brought responsibility, which humans are still learning how to handle. The digital age arrived quietly, and they never stopped screaming. Computers became smaller, faster, and smarter. Information exploded everywhere, and attention became the most valuable resource. Humans gained access to all knowledge, yet somehow became more confused than ever. Social lives moved online, arguments became global, and reality started competing with opinions. Stickman here is honestly overwhelmed, and I'm just a drawing. Now we enter the era of artificial intelligence, where humans teach machines to think while still struggling to understand themselves. AI can create, predict, and assist, but it also reflects human flaws perfectly. Bias in, bias out. The big question isn't whether machines will replace humans, but whether humans will evolve emotionally fast enough to coexist with their own creations. History shows that power without wisdom tends to repeat mistakes. Today's humanity stands at a crossroads, surrounded by technology, climate issues, and moral dilemmas. Never before has one species had so much control over one planet. Every choice now echoes forward. The tools are powerful, the stakes are high, and the consequences are permanent. Stickman watches all this and wonders if humanity will finally learn from their past or just document their downfall in high resolution. Looking back, human history is not a straight line upward. It's a messy scribble full of ambition, fear, creativity, and contradiction. Humans build, destroy, regret, and rebuild over and over. Progress exists, but it's uneven and often painful. The story of humanity is not about perfection. It's about persistence, mistakes, and the strange hope that tomorrow might be better. So, here we are at the end of this very fast history lesson told by a stickman who somehow survived every era. From caves to code, humanity keeps moving forward, even when it's not sure where forward actually is. The past whispers warnings, the future waits impatiently, and the present is always messy. This is not the end of the story, it's just the latest frame. And if there's one thing history teaches us, it's this. Humans are incredible at creating tools, terrible at using them responsibly, and surprisingly good at surviving their own bad decisions. Whether the next chapter is hopeful or disastrous depends on choices being made right now. Stickman drops the mic, steps out of the timeline, and lets humanity write whatever comes next.